Well, so far since lunchtime, twat downstairs has left me in peace. I dreaded because he heard a bath running. And he might knock on the door over some random shite again. I know what he wants me to do, but I'm not going to punch him and get myself into trouble. It's as simple as that. This is another case of someone poking the bear or wolf, isn't it? And I think my next strategy is just simply, if he confronts me at the door again, I should just say, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, and just stand there and passively wait for him to get out of the way. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, ad infinitum until he gives up. So no engagement whatsoever, no shouting, no swearing, no recognition of him as a human being whatsoever. Problem with me is my father was a very confrontational and angry man until about the last 10 or 15 years of his life when he chilled out, which is why I think part of that was that we reached an understanding. I think me and my father almost bonded because I think it was 3 times we ended up fighting each other from the age of about 16 onwards. One point, I vividly remember, and I would have been over 30 at this point, I didn't grow up very quickly. I was back home after a series of messed up relationships and was having a long distance relationship with a girl in Plymouth. If you ever watched this, Sarah, we had a great time the time we had. Me being so stoned that I couldn't even cook bacon. We tried to eat it raw. Bless your son. I hope he's growing up to be a little man to make you proud, because he's a big boy, big lad now, I would imagine. But anyway, basically, I remember one night where, I was still on heavy weed intake at the time. I was on the landline telephone. Yeah, my parents still had, my mum still has a landline. Wow. What's one of them? What's one of them kids? Hi. And basically, he started getting irritated with the fact that I'd been on the phone for an hour and it was cheap as chips. I wasn't paying any rent because I basically had next to no money. And he basically came in my room while I'd been smoking weed and drinking wine, and he'd been drinking whiskey mid-evening. And he grabbed the phone off me in mid-conversation. And we got very aggressive with each other. And when I baited him, my mother got in between and he grabbed her by the throat, and that's when he stopped. That is when he stopped. Do you know that? My father had temper problems, but like myself, most of the time, 95% of the time I would say, he and I both never pushed it too far because of the iron discipline that was ingrained into us by my grandfather, his father, and in turn my father instilled in me in a lot of ways. Yes, there were disadvantages, the whole thing where every time I sang in my bedroom he'd tell me to turn that bloody row down because I used to play the music too loud like any other teenager. He was a man of honour. Someone insulted his wife or abused his sons in any way, he would be there right away. I still remember a primary school teacher who took a particular dislike to me. He used to try and teach me to write right-handed and I'm a lefty. Yeah, this was the 70s for you, and the early 80s. And my father came into the classroom to discuss the fact that I had said this man was being very nasty to me. Mr. Hill, those who are local to Needham Market, he once dressed up as a Victorian school teacher for Victorian Day, back in the days when it was a red brick primary school. So sadly, they demolished it and it's now an old people's home. But anyways, and he just looked the part. He looked like something out of a Dickens novel, and he had the same fierce sense of old-fashioned discipline. He picked me up by my ears for being an annoying, disruptive ADHD child. My father walked in and just stared at him. And him and Mr. Hill had words. I never did find out what he said, but that teacher never touched me again. My father always got his way through the kind of macho manliness that's very unfashionable these days. And I know it is. There are better ways to deal with the confrontation, but I'm 51 now. To unlearn what I've learned would be a painful and probably expensive experience involving cognitive therapy, whatever they call it these days, but you know what I mean. Cognitive behavioural therapy, I believe, CBT. So there ain't no change in that. I mean, people try and explain to me that there are better ways, but I just don't get it. That's who I am. In my way of thinking, I'm a warrior. A warrior solves things in a warrior's way. I face my enemy head on. That's why my breastplate will have no backplate. Because if I take a wound to the back, that's dishonourable in my eyes. I'm talking about reenactment here, not real battle, I hope. Although I get to die and go to Valhalla, hopefully. So bring it on. Yeah. And the state of the world. I'm beginning to despair of the local Labour candidate, Mr. Jack Abbott. I've only leafleted the first half of one run because in nearly 2 weeks he hasn't even got back to me via email about an issue I wanted to talk about. I'm a busy man. I know he is too, very, very busy, but one email? Seriously? Even if to say I will get back to you on this. Okay? But nothing. So I'm beginning to think, because one of his last posts before being out and about was hobnobbing with the rich and prosperous business people of Ipswich. People whose votes actually count, not like this working class, poor as fuck bastard. And I understand that's the votes they're aiming for. It's the middle classes that will turn the next general election in the UK. Hopefully. But, even a middle class, prosperous family with more than 2 brain cells to rub together are just going to go, nah, let's get this shit shower out. Not that I have much faith in Starmer. He's a bit purple, isn't he? For any foreign viewers, not UK people. Basically, the colour of the Conservatives, our current government, is blue for their decor and that. Oh, hi, Rach. I'll get back to you and message you in a minute. And that derailed me. And the colour of Labour is red for all their decor. But their current leader, well, he blends the two. He's purple. Politically. So I sort of strongly suspect that things will remain with gradual improvements if they get in, gradual small improvements, but things will basically stay the same. So I give it a week and I shall just deliver the leaflets back to Labour headquarters and say, well, I've had no engagement with Mr. Abbott. I understand he's busy, but the least he could do is acknowledge my email address. and say, I'll get back to you when I can. You know, I think the admin team have once acknowledged one of my comments on his Facebook group, because I know it's probably not him that actually administrates it. I understand that. And apparently I'm a top contributor. Oh, Lordy, the world we live in, eh? News gets depressing, doesn't it? I pay attention because I must. I'm one of these people that have to know. At least the bath is nice and hot and warm. My thanks to my new subscriber, whose name I've already forgotten because I'm having such a stressful time with that idiot down below. Not the one that's attached to me. I mean the idiot in the basement flat. Yeah. Thank you for your subscription. Goodbird. J. Goodbird. I like the name. Sounds vaguely Native American. So maybe you're another one of my American viewers, and therefore that explanation of British politics may help. I could be wrong on that. I apologise if I am. Right. Well, having said that, you know, if you two like what you see in here, I'm sexy and I know it. Then please feel free to like and subscribe. Anyways, I'm going to sort myself out and feed the cat, get things sorted for when my partner comes home from a probably tiring 12-hour shift. So here's hoping we have a quiet night. Best wishes to all of you. And yet again, special mention to Jay Goodbird, my new subscriber. Please let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about your origins, and I do apologise if I am. It was just a guess. Thank you very much for your time, people. Pleasure as always. And, chatting to you from the bath, which is a bit different, although I've done it once before or twice. I'm just a show off.